Hello and welcome back to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. In today's video we'll be covering the best players you should buy ahead of game week 35. We're also going to look at some players you should be looking to sell, and at the end we're going to look at some cheeky differentials who could massively help you boost your rank this game week. Before we start the video, I would like to say a huge thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel. In the last video I mentioned that we were trying to hit 50 subscribers before the end of April. We absolutely smashed it, so thank you everyone who did that. Now we're aiming to get to 100 by the end of the season, so if you do enjoy the content on the channel then please do hit the subscribe button, like the video and if you enjoy it, and tell me down in the comments below what are your plans for game week 35. But without any further ado, let's dive in to some buys. My first buy for today's video is Kevin De Bruyne, or KDB as he goes by. What a performance he had against Watford, and he is City's key man. We've seen him throughout the years, and I think sometimes we forget how good of a player this man is. He's absolutely sensational. One of my favourite players to watch, playing in a City side that look absolutely scintillating and, could go on to win the league. The pressure's on them, to maintain that point difference with Liverpool winning today at Everton. They've got to keep winning the games. The only thing that I would be potentially worried about with Kevin De Bruyne is the Champions League fixtures. Obviously, that Man City have this week, so that's something to maybe consider because they're also going to be prioritising that. I imagine they're probably going to face Liverpool in the final as well. In that, it seems like them two are just going to have a showdown all over the shop this season. But yeah, KDB for me had a scintillating season that's pretty much gone under the radar. 11 goals, 6 assists in the Premier League. Doesn't double at the moment in 36. However, looking at Twitter, Ben Crellin, who's the best person to follow for fixtures, is kind of pretty much saying it's 36, like it's fairly nailed-ish. Could even go in 37, but anyway, City still have a double to come. Preferably it's in 36 where they face Newcastle and Wolves. That'd be a great double. But looking long term as well for their fixtures, Leeds, Newcastle, West Ham and Villa, and obviously the Wolves game to be rearranged. Great fixtures till the end of the season. I could see City going unbeaten throughout all of them, and KDB being a massive part of that. He's been the highest scoring City player as well over the past 5 game weeks, so he is the key man for creativity, for goals, for points. He is the man for it, and he's also been the 3rd highest scoring player over the past 5 game weeks. So I don't know what else I can really say apart from the fact that this man could win you your mini league, and the reason behind that is his ownership is only at 8.5%. I actually couldn't believe it was this low. With the great fixtures that City have got, it just makes sense to me. If you maybe got like a Son or a Bruno and you are looking to maybe move them on, I think KDB could be the perfect man for you, and at 8.5% you could massively shoot up the ranks if he explodes, which he definitely will come the end of the season. So my first buy for today's video is Kevin De Bruyne. The next player that I'm going to recommend is Matty Cash. Now with this one, you are fully going fixtures over form. As you can see from his past 5 game weeks, 0 goals, 0 assists, only 7 touches in the opposition box, 0 big chance created, 0 expected assists as well, which is dreadful for a player that we're kind of looking for just more than a clean sheet, especially at the 5.2 million price point that he is. We are looking for that, but we're going with the fixtures like we said. Game week 35, great fixture. Norwich pretty much down at this point. You imagine the Villa win is probably gonna just confirm that they're down at that point. So I could definitely see Villa keeping a clean sheet there. Then they double in 36 with a mixed double. Burnley, who have come into form, picking up 7 points in the past 3 games, and then face Liverpool. But who knows at that point what, could happen. It's a massive game for Liverpool, and, Villa could cause an upset again, maybe another 7-2. Who knows? But yeah, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Liverpool, so you could maybe get something out of that, but the Burnley one is the one that you're targeting. Then we go into game week 37, another great double for Aston Villa, Crystal Palace at home and Burnley at home. Obviously we spoke about Burnley's good form, but by that point they maybe could even be safe if they keep up this good run. Who knows, but that'll be a huge game. And Crystal Palace, I imagine that's probably going to be a little bit of a dead rubber game. Both teams kind of safe, maybe a little bit of on the beach mentality comes into it, so who knows. Clean sheets are definitely something that we could get from Matty Cash, and we've seen his explosivity going forward as well, obviously with his 3 goals and 3 assists. You know, it's the back-to-back doubles we're wanting, and they are a very, very tasty doubles. I think Villa assets as a whole could be something that something they should be looking at to maybe target maybe this week and next week. As well with Matty Cash, he is the 9th highest scoring defender this season, which actually quite shocked me. For a player who plays for a team that have been pretty poor this year, to be the 9th highest scoring defender, considering, you know, the plethora of defensive talents we've seen this season, I think that is very good. And someone that I'm maybe looking at is Matty Cash. I don't think I can afford Coutinho, kind of the way my team's structured. So for me, I'm going for Matty Cash at the back, hoping that Villa can keep some clean sheets and he can kind of get back to his attacking ways, but we'll see. But yeah, they were my 2 buys. Now let's move on to the sells. My first sell is a very, very controversial one. Probably going to get quite a lot of hate for this, but it is Heung-min Son. There was a mass exodus of FPL players that were selling Kane, Son, Kulusevski, and you know, it worked out for you guys. 0-0 at Brentford. Spurs didn't have a shot on target for the 2nd game in a row. As you can see from Son's past 5 game weeks though, 6 goals, 1 assist, but it's a massive, massive overperformance in the expected goals column, and that is for Spurs as well in general. So is this kind of Spurs and Spurs assets returning to the mean? Maybe, who knows? But it's definitely, you know, Spurs haven't looked at the races. And with, you know, players like Kevin De Bruyne popping up in midfield at a similar price range, and Son not performing, even you could drop him down to a Coutinho, we mentioned with their great fixtures, it is starting to make a little bit of sense. Obviously, Spurs do have okay-ish fixtures. Game week 35 against Leicester, we'll come to talk about in a minute, but game week 36 is a double against Liverpool and Arsenal, a very, very stinky double. Liverpool going for the title, looking very strong at the moment, and Arsenal, that is a massive, massive game. Pretty much probably going to determine whether or not Spurs get an opportunity to get top 4, and Arsenal maybe securing top 4 in that game, which would be quite bad for Spurs fans. But they come out of that game week 37 Burnley and game week 38 Norwich. But, you know, the game week 36 double is very stinky. But my only consideration with Spurs assets, if you have one and you're maybe a little bit, do I sell, do I not, do I keep? My only consideration is in game week 35, they take on Leicester. And Leicester, you know, we've seen how poor Leicester have been at the back. But they also come out of the Europa Conference League game, which they play on Thursday. So, you know, that is a huge, huge game for them. They're going to put their strongest team out and they're going to probably rotate afterwards, just down to the fact that I think they've got to play again the following Thursday as well in the Conference League. So they're going to rotate for that Spurs game. They'll kind of see that as, you know, that's it, it's done. The Premier League isn't where they're targeting. It is this Europa Conference League, so they can get back into the Europa League. So we potentially could see a well-rested Spurs team take on a heavily rotated and heavily tired Leicester team, and that is something where Son, Kane and Kulusevski could massively haul. So that's something just to consider. But for me, I would be maybe thinking and maybe looking at other options than Spurs players. But let's move on to the next player. Next player that I'm recommending you sell is Bruno Fernandes. Obviously missed a huge, huge penalty against Arsenal at the weekend, and United and Bruno have looked pretty dreadful over the past few game weeks. As we can see from his stats, 0 goals, only 1 assist in that period. And yeah, United just haven't looked at the races. No doubles to come up, and they also blank in game week 37. As well, you know, you might be looking and thinking, well, they play Brentford. That could be an easy fixture. In my eyes, potentially not. Brentford unbeaten in the last 4 games and have looked very, very good going forward as well. Obviously, with Christian Eriksen coming in and kind of giving the side a new lease of life. Going forward. Kind of bringing Tony and Mbeumo into the game. He's a fantastic player, as Christian Eriksen. Someone I did recommend a few game weeks ago. But But yeah, that's for me is why I feel United maybe could even come undone against Brentford. It's just not there, is it, for United? And with, like I said, KDB, other players popping up on the scene, other players who have doubles, this money could be utilised in a much better way. I think if you have Ronaldo for this game week, I would say maybe hold off. and wait till game week 36, we potentially could move him out, because he has shown promises of form, and he probably will be on penalties now, considering Bruno's missed that one. But if you have Bruno Fernandes, for me, he's the sell. But let's move on to the differentials. My first differential is Nketiah. Now, over the past 5 game weeks, he has scored 2 goals with a good expected non-penalty goals as well. He is a bargain bottom forward at only 5.4 million. And it seems like he's in kind of Arteta's favour at the moment. He is the preferred forward over Lacazette. Obviously, he's fighting for a contract, or maybe trying to eye up another transfer move. You know, he's got to put himself in the shop window with his contract coming to an end. So that's what he's trying to do. In the past 3 game weeks, he has been the highest scoring forward, only behind Gabriel Jesus, who had a freak 4 goals and assist against Watford, and Cristiano Ronaldo. So to kind of put him in, you know, that bracket, we spoke about how poor forwards have been all season, and kind of he offers a good bit of value here at 5.4 million if he continues to play games. Obviously, they play West Ham in game week 35. Similar situation to Leicester, where they are going to be playing in the Europa League, and you know, that's where their priorities are. You could see that with their heavily rotated team that took on Chelsea. So, you know, it could be a game where the Arsenal front line kind of are able to flourish. As well with that, it looks like West Ham have limited numbers at the back. You know, obviously the injury to Kurt Zouma, and Craig Dawson picking up a red card as well. So he's unavailable for that game. As well as that, they have a double in 36 and good fixtures after that. So the double in 36 is Leeds at home and Tottenham away. And then in game week 37, they take on Newcastle. And game week 38, they take on Everton at home, which could be a huge game for Everton and a huge game for Arsenal, that one. So that could go either way. But for 5.4 million, only 2% ownership, he could be a really, really nice forward to have in your team, especially if you're looking for a bench boost as well in game week 36, as am I. He could really, really help, be a cheap enabler up front for you, who seems to be favoured in a very good team that have good fixtures going forward. So that's why Nketiah is my first differential of today's video. The final player that I'm going to be recommending in today's video is Wilfried Zaha. I have put in my first notes penalties ? Obviously missed his last penalty, but has been Palace's main penalty taker going forward this season. As you can see, he gets in the box a lot and creates a lot of opportunities for Crystal Palace. He's pretty nailed in their side. Patrick Vieira very much favours him on that left-hand side. They've got great fixtures till the end of the season. Game week 35, they take on Southampton, who have only won 1 of their last 8 games. Game week 36 is against Watford, who by that point potentially could even be down. So, you know, there's, you know, some room for Zaha to score points in there. Unfortunately, it's not a double though for them there. But in game week 37, they do double. So if you haven't got a free hit left, then you could maybe look at bringing in players who double in 37, and Zaha is one of them, with Aston Villa and Everton, and then they finish the season at home against Manchester United. But with the way United are playing, don't rule anything out. But yeah, for me, I really like Zaha on penalties, pretty nailed player for Palace. And if you are looking for kind of a mid-price midfield replacement, maybe for Saka if he's injured, just maybe keep a lookout for that. It didn't look the best, but it didn't look the worst at the same time, so I'd just take that into consideration, and maybe Zaha could be the replacement. I think he could do really well over the next few game weeks, and someone I am looking to get into my team. Finally, if you did enjoy today's video, then please do smash the like button. Please do subscribe. It honestly means the absolute world to me when people subscribe to my channel, like my videos, watch my videos. It's a great feeling for me. Finally, let me know what you are doing in the comments below, and good luck for the game week.